Good morning. Wednesday, another great Wednesday. I wanted to share a quick story. It happened 11 years ago. I looked into the bathroom mirror and what I saw looking back at me scared me. I didn't pull out my phone to take a picture or anything like that, but if I did, it would have looked a lot like this. Take a look at this gem. Yeah, right. Look at this guy. Hair on fire, frazzled look, not really sure what the heck's going on. Um, yeah, that is exactly how I felt when I looked into the mirror. I was in my mid-20s, and at that moment, I had a scary thought. I thought, wow, is this really it? Is this what owning a business is truly like, where you're forced to deal with these clients that are never satisfied, doing that day after day? Is this how it's going to be the rest of my life? Now, that may sound a bit dramatic, but for me, that was an absolute reality. And here's why. For the 18 months leading up to that glorious picture, well, that happened later. That wasn't the exact picture, but that's most of my no, I'm just kidding. But that's it. For 18 months leading up to that point, I was trying to get my photography company off the ground. I was just hustling every way that I could, offering free cheap photo shoots just to build up my portfolio and experience. I was doing all sorts of grassroots marketing, from passing out flyers and business cards, networking, the whole thing. And then on top of that, saying yes to practically every photo shoot that came my way, which led to some very interesting photo shoots, we shall say. um, and then go home late at night, say a quick hello to Ally, to my wife, before plopping myself in front of the computer and editing for the next couple hours, right? um, and that was not the dream that I had of being my own boss. That was not the vision that I'd seen when I set out to start my own photography company. But as you know, I turned the tables, and since then I've never looked back. And one of the light bulb moments for me through all of this was this simple concept: was discovering that I didn't have to accept whatever type of client came my way. That I could actually attract a specific type of client, one that I wanted to work with. You know, it's a long story short, that aha resulted in me doubling my revenue year after year, being flown out all across the country to different places for events, while working even less than I had before, which was so cool. And I won't lie, that growth, that recognition, it felt nice. It felt really good. But what really has turned my life around is taking what I've experienced and what I've learned and sharing it with others, so that they can now start to experience that same type of upgrade to their work life, to their business, and ultimately to their personal life. Now I'm talking about those that just have, even those that are just starting out, have just launched their big idea, as well as those that have been in the trenches for several years and are still trying to break through to that higher level. And I heard this quote the other day, and I think it's so cool. It's very applicable. Success and happiness in life is never meaningful until you make it about someone else rather than yourself. And I couldn't agree more with that. And the key that we're talking about right here, or I guess what I'm trying to say, is that one of my biggest aha moments was zeroing in on who you're best equipped to serve. Okay, so who is that perfect client that you would magically clone again and again and again if you could? Okay, what outcomes can you help that person achieve every single time? Okay, what type of person gets you stoked out of your mind to serve on a daily basis? When you see them on your calendar, you're just pumped. You love being around them, you love serving them, you can knock it out of the park every single day for them. It's a perfect match, right? And to do this effectively, you need to dive deep. Okay, it's going from this very surface level approach of name, age, city, to now going a lot deeper and saying, well, what are their hopes? What are their fears? What are their frustrations? What are their concerns? What are their daily challenges? And really building that into your messaging so that you are laser specific Okay. It's taking, it's going from this huge, massive generic message and, this one size fits all to a laser, a very specific laser that's just cutting through all the clutter, and that's what's so cool when you do this right. Like for me, when I changed from just basically searching for anyone who's interested or anyone who needs photography, to, and I have it written down, a working professional with established career who lives in the city, loves the outdoors, values her time, is willing to hire professionals because the results will be far superior, is deathly afraid of creating or excuse me, is one of her biggest fears is not creating a truly memorable experience, not only for herself, but for other people as well, her friends and family, who prioritizes relationships above all and wants her photographer to capture all the emotions and candid moments without being all up in your face the whole time. When I started shifting that, when I changed that messaging and got really deep and specific, that's when things really started humming. I got very specific on who I serve best and why. And it made everything so much easier. All the messaging, all the marketing. I knew where to go find these people. I knew what to say when I found those people. And it was just, man, it was just the biggest light bulb moment. I remember talking to other photographers that were still stuck in the old way, saying, oh man, this client was the worst. You talk, because we did a lot of weddings, bridezilla, and the whole thing. And then there's the mom, just going off, and that's and they'd be like, oh, has that ever happened to you? And I just kind of smile. I'd be like, no, not really. Not, I had some early on in my early days, but no, not anymore, type of thing. And it was just such a shock. And it was for me when I first learned that concept. I thought, holy cow, is that really, like, can you truly do that? And it was just as remarkable. And yes, it takes a lot of time. I'm not going to beat around the bush and tell you that you can just do a quick search and have it magically spit out everything that you need to know. It takes a lot of conversations, a lot of research, a lot of questions. But what that gives you is very specific insight. And that insight gives you leverage, because then when you go to your marketing platform, you're going to know where those people hang out and spend their time because you know them intimately. Then it's going to be easier to choose where to advertise. It's going to be easier to know what to say. Like I mentioned before, you're not just saying generic platitudes, that apply to the whole, but it's very specific. These are people, like in my case, these are working professionals that are so busy throughout the day that they don't have time to do this and this and this. And so they're looking for a very specific approach, or a very specific solution. Okay. But what that gives you, what all that insight gives you really is a fast track to success and scale and growth that you just can't obtain otherwise, So that's the message for today. And super cool news. I am going to host a 3-day challenge. I'm calling it what did I say? Golden Client Identifier Challenge. Just came up with it. So many names, I couldn't decide. So it might change. The name might change, but it's with that same concept in mind, where we take 3 days to really take a deep dive into developing that ideal client profile. Who's that perfect person that is just an ideal fit for, that you're an ideal fit for, and for whom you can knock it out of the park every single time. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye out. It'll be sometime end of April, about to say end of February, end of April. And if you're interested, we've got on this blog post, on our blog, you can fill out a form to be notified of that. You'll also see some announcements on social media, emails, things like that. But super cool, pumped on that, because it is such a launching pad for businesses. Once they know that, everything changes and everything gets so much better and easier, and you can grow faster and quicker. Enough said. Anyway, good talking to you guys. See you next time.